Following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would fall alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. I'm Anthony Hartwig, and I am joined by Ty Bartell, as always, on Running Point. And Ty, we finally have some finals to talk about. Not as many as we thought we'd have, even after yesterday's show. Some games got canceled late, so we had just one baseball game and one softball game, and they're both in gorgeous facilities that let them play. Edison and East Liverpool on one end on the baseball side, Fitch and Canfield on the softball side. We didn't split, so there's no points given up. We both picked the same winners in those games. But Ty, what a great opening day, I guess you could say, for Fitch softball. 7-0 win over Canfield. You were there. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, and I mean, we were anxiously waiting the debut of Sydney Watts in her high school career, and hopefully a long and prosperous 4-year career for the freshman this year, Watts. When you hear that she's, hitting upwards of 65 to 68 miles an hour in the off season, in the preseason, and in scrimmage games, you start getting a little bit excited too. And Anthony, you've gotten a chance to see her live. I've seen her on film a couple of times. This is my first chance getting to see and experience her type of talent in person. And let me tell you, she commanded that circle from the moment she stepped in it, and she never let go. And I think if you want to talk about impressive, striking out the first 11 batters straight, your first 11 outs or strikeouts, 8 straight, I think, 9 straight strikeouts before one got put in play. I think it was actually 8 straight strikeouts before one got put in play. But the first 11 outs that she recorded were all by way of the K, on way to 19 strikeouts in a 7-inning game. And if you don't know much about softball, folks, that means out of the 21 outs that she could have recorded, she fanned 19 of them, which is absolutely incredible considering it was her first game ever pitching for the Falcons. She's a freshman, and also give props where props is due. That's a very good Canfield Lady Cardinals hitting lineup 1 through 9. They can all do some damage to you. And Canfield was starting to figure it out a little bit towards the end of the game. Second time, third time through the lineup, they were getting a little bit more patient. They worked a couple walks, 3 total on Sydney, but just the speed of everything. When Canfield was able to get a couple girls on base by way of the walk, by way of some free passes, working some good counts, just you got to make contact to get the ball in play. And Canfield having some trouble doing that. Angela was doing a great job of that her third time around, really forced a good at-bat, and I was watching her make contact, foul off a couple of Watts pitches. Now, did Watts probably lose a little bit of steam on that ball towards the latter part of the game? Probably. There probably wasn't as much zip on it, but still, Canfield was trying to adjust, but I think Sydney did a great job. Her rise ball was looking really good, and it was getting Canfield to chase out of the zone all night long, and that's one thing I said consistently on the broadcast, and just seeing her for my first time, and I'm going to see her a lot more in a 4-year career, I have a feeling, but in seeing her for my first time and what I said about her, she's hard enough to beat when she's throwing strikes in the zone. If you're helping her out, she becomes untouchable.
Welcome to the show. I mean, I know they call the MLB the show, but the softball season, this is the Sydney Watts show.
I might start touting her name as as the untouchable Sydney Watts is what I might be calling it, because
that is by the way, that is a record already in the books for Austintown Fitch's freshman. That is the best debut that Austintown Fitch softball has ever seen. The record for opening day strikeouts is officially snapped for Sydney Watts. Her final line: 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 3 walks, 19 Ks, no earned runs.
What more can you ask for from your starter and a freshman? And you know what? One I do want to really Milena Toth of Garfield looked really good yesterday. And yeah, you see the score and you see what the final was, but I'll tell you what, out of all those runs that were given up by Toth, it was at the end of the day, it was all unearned runs. And Toth was actually pitching really well. She was pitching kind of around the plate too, really not forcing a lot of runs to get scored, and it was a lot of defensive miscues by Canfield, and you kind of expect it. Opening day, it's cold out. They're kind of just getting their feet wet a little bit. So Canfield wasn't as sharp as we're going to see them on defense later in the season. It cost them some runs too, and it cost Toth some runs. But we've said before too, Anthony, that's kind of the fickle part of this sport too, is that pitcher Toth didn't give up a single earned run, but she's gonna have to unfortunately take the loss on this one.
And Toth's final line, since you brought it up, I want to kind of get it real quick. 6 innings pitched. She gave up 11 hits, the 7 runs, but only 4 of them are charged to her. So she was officially given 4 earned runs. She struck out 9, walked 1. So that was the official line for Milena Toth.
Yeah. Still, good night for her too. I mean, 9 strikeouts too, and she's only a sophomore too, and that's the one thing I said. You like this pitching matchup too, because for about 4 to 5 innings before Fitch, I think it was actually in the 5th where they kind of blew it open and put a 4 spot on it. Other than that, she was kind of really dancing around with Fitch hitters, and I believe she gave up the 4 in the 5th inning, but she was really pitching good up until that point. And that's a matchup you're going to see because Toth only a sophomore, and on the other side, Watts is a freshman. So expect to see this matchup inside the conference a lot more times the next few years.
So only 4 of those 7 runs were earned for Toth. I believe Maddie Taylor had a big hit in the outfield that was charged an error that gave up a couple of runs. So that those runs were not earned. Ayla Ray, by the way, 4 for 4. One home run away from the cycle. So let's not talk about the offense because it's easy to get overshadowed by Sydney Watts' great performance in the circle. But Ayla Ray, perfect night of the plate, 4 for 4, a double, a single, a triple, and just a home run shy of the cycle.
Yeah, Ayla Ray was mentioned too. I mentioned her in the interview with Coach Ward too. Out of that leadoff spot, 2 singles, double, triple. Really made good contact with the ball. Played a very solid shortstop too, and also when McKenna Hogan picked off a Canfield runner too. I believe it was their first base hit of the game too, and their first base runner via the base hit was picked off by Hogan on a steal attempt. And Ayla Ray completed that pickoff too. Really did a great job playing shortstop there as well. So I think the Lady Falcons are going to do just fine. They're young. They're going to get more experience, but you pretty much have your leadoff hitter checked off for the next couple years. She might even go down into the lineup too if she keeps making good contact like that. I mean, coach is going to always want to keep you in the top of the lineup too. So you might be a 3 hitter too. You add a little power to that bat as well. I mean, and then look at Watts being a freshman. You got at least Ayla Ray and Sydney Watts on this team for this season, and then 2 more after that, you would hope.
Watts, the plate also tripled, so she hit as well as she pitched.
First hit in her high school career as well. We made sure we gave her recognition for that. A lot of firsts that were caught on ysnlive.com, and what we hope to be an illustrious career for Sydney Watts.
You had the chance to get with Steve Ward and Sydney Watts after the game for post-game interviews. Let's hear what they had to say in their post-game press conferences.
Man, everybody, as I am here now with Coach Steve Ward of his first win with the Lady Falcons this season, 7-0 victory over the Canfield Lady Cardinals. And, I mean, back-to-back opening days. I mean, we know what Lydia did last year, the perfect game against LeBray. Another special day here today as freshman Sydney Watts comes out 19 strikeouts, only 1 hit. Talk about her performance and just what kind of things you were seeing from the freshman today.
You know what? She doesn't play like a freshman. She plays like a senior that's been out there 100 times before. And, her maturity, her ability to just understand what we're trying to do pitching-wise, it's the perfect trifecta between Sydney, McKenna behind the plate, and Coach Spalding calling the pitches. It's just, we're going to try and keep that rolling, that's for sure.
Another player I want to kind of mention, too, Ayla Ray at the top of that lineup, too, 4 for 4 a day. I mean, when you talk about a player like Toth that was pitching a pretty good game despite the run count, a lot of those were unearned runs today, too. Talk about what her play really did for you guys today.
That's what we look for her in the one spot. She's a magic maker for us. She's going to be the exciting player that she's going to put the ball in play, be able to run it out like the one time she did, or find a gap and stretch it out to a triple where some other players would only get a double. So her lighting us up at the beginning, instilling confidence in all of our hitters, and definitely give credit to Melina Toth. She did pitch one heck of a game and kept our hitters guessing.
Talking about, too, just the team, I mean, what was the excitement level over these last few days, and what made you pull the trigger on today? Because there wasn't many teams that were having baseball and softball going on today, but I got to feel like this team was just itching to get out on the field.
Well, I think there would have been a mutiny if I told them that we were going to do another day of practice in the gym. So they said, Coach, we don't care. We're ready to go. And, the temperature hit that magic mark of where we were able to go, and, hey, we're not afraid of a little bit of a cold.
Talking about this, you guys now go to 1-0 on the season. Weather providing, you're going to go right back now going to Canfield to face the same team tomorrow. When you face teams back-to-backs like this, what are some challenges that you're going to have to face going into Canfield to try to get another victory against the Cardinals tomorrow?
Well, Canfield has a strong pedigree that, they are very strong hitters. They're a very good program that, they haven't been who they are for the years that they were without knowing how to fight. So we definitely expect them to make their adjustments. So the challenge for us is to continue to get sharper. There's a lot of plays that we would like to have back on our side to execute a little bit better. So that's what we talked about after the game is, we have a lot to improve on. We're really proud of what we did, but, it's about where we're going and how we're going to improve day by day.
Fitch Lady Falcons go to 1-0 on the season, as you could catch them going to Canfield tomorrow, Wednesday, on March 30th, 5 o'clock start time against the Cardinals. Coach Ward, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ty, and thank you to YSN for covering all of softball around the area.
Muted, Anthony. There we go.
That was Austintown Fitch softball coach Steve Ward. And now we'll get to the freshman in the circle that dazzled everybody with 19 strikeouts and hear what Sydney Watts had to say in her post-game press conference with you, Ty Bartel.
Welcome back, everyone, as I am here with today's player of the game, Sydney Watts. Freshman record, 19 strikeouts in 7 innings of work, allowing just 1 hit and 3 walks to a very good Canfield Lady Cardinals lineup. Just talk to me about the emotions before this game. Obviously, freshman year, it's your first start out there in the circle. What were your emotions before the game, and what's the feeling like now that the first game is under your belt?
It was crazy. The energy in the dugout was amazing. Everybody was so excited, and it was just fun going out there.
I mean, out of the list of firsts that you had too, which one was your favorite? Let's go first strikeout or first base hit. First pitching strikeout or first base hit on the hitting side.
First base hit.
First base hit, and that of course came as a triple later in the game for Watts. Talking about this and just talking about your journey coming up into this point, Sydney, who are some of the big role models that you've had in softball that you'd like to shout out that helped you out up until this point?
Definitely my dad. He's helped me since I was 7. He sat on that bucket thousands of hours. Just
talking to me about that too, and just talking about this being conference play, how important do you think this type of game is for the team-wise to kind of get that first win against the conference and get that confidence rolling into this season?
I think it's super important. Now that we did that, I feel like our confidence is there, and we're just going to keep it going throughout the season.
Take me behind the curtains a little bit with this team, and just talk to me about this team energy, the team mentality, because it seems like you guys, no matter what, always seem to have a great time out there on the field.
We're always so close. There's no drama in the team. It's amazing. Everybody's so energetic, and we're like a family. That's the way to describe it. We're like a family.
First, last thing I'll ask you then, just to wrap this thing up, what has it been like to have this community out to support you throughout the whole season? It seems like you guys have a great social media following and just great supporters throughout.
It's crazy to know that many people follow us. Our team is amazing, and I love how people recognize that.
Sydney Watts, 19 strikeout performance and the first win of hopefully many in her long Lady Falcons career. As she is the player of the game. Again, we'll go through her stat line: 1 hit allowed, 3 walks, 19 strikeouts, and the 7-inning performance and victory. Sydney, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Sydney Watts, who opened the season with a pretty impressive performance from the freshman. Broke some records, like Ty just said. 19 strikeouts in 7 innings pitched, and 3 walks, 1 hit, no earned runs for Sydney Watts.
Wow.
Oh wow!
It was cold out too. It's not hard. It's not easy to get a grip on that ball when it's that kind of temperature outside. Didn't matter. She had a phenomenal game, and even Coach Ward will say, I mean, that's a freshman that doesn't play like a freshman.
And how about Coach Ward? She's just like a senior out there. I mean, I believe it too. I mean,
you have a senior for 4 years, then Coach Ward. So that's kind of scary.
Any questions we had about like her composure or how she would handle herself in the pressure of an actual regular season high school softball game, gone right out the window. Because even, you look at the score and you say, oh, 7-0, she was never put in bad situations. But in that 5th inning, 3-0, Canfield brought the tying run to the plate. So that's a big moment in that game. That's a high pressure pitch, and Sydney Watts still struck out the threat. So I think any questions left are all answered. I mean, maybe the only one left people could have had was, can she pitch in high pressure situations?
Yeah.
Well, Canfield brought the game tying run to the plate. No way, no problem.
2 other times too, she fell behind in the count 3-0 and came all the way back to strike the batter out twice in the game. So I mean, when you're falling behind that far out in the count and just coming and straight challenging a hitter 3 straight times and getting strikeouts, like, you're doing something right too. So I mean, you look at the walk count. Yeah, that's one thing she's gonna have to work on too. But at the same time, we got to remember, as you know, she plays like a senior. She doesn't play like a freshman, but we also have to remember that she is a freshman. There is going to be development. There might be some valleys within it too. She's going to have to learn the game as she continues to play it. So don't always expect superstar performances, but I don't know. I mean, she's pretty talented. I'm just excited to see how she continues to develop and just progress throughout her career, because by the time she actually is a senior, I think it's gonna, when she has it all put together, watch out everyone, because she's gonna be dangerous.
Ty, you can confirm this because I missed a couple of bats. I was flipping between your game and Edison East Liverpool, but I didn't see a single hitter for Canfield even hit the ball hard, like hard contact, even if it was foul.
Yeah.
Every piece of contact that they did get was like soft dribbler foul, or even their single was a bunt. So I don't think anything even got hit hard.
To kind of, yeah, and they never squared anything up, I guess it is a better way to put it. Yeah, nothing was ever squared up. Everything was kind of, like you said, soft contact. They chipped the ball a lot too, kind of just hit it right into the ground or straight up into the air. So yeah, couldn't really square the ball up on Watts. And yeah, granted too, you also got to remember, like I said, it's cold, it's opening day, it's Canfield's first game. That's not always going to happen. And also, there's not a whole lot on Sydney Watts right now. Not a lot of whole teams know about her. Not a lot of teams
know about her now.
Yeah. I mean, teams know her because of the scrimmages and everything, and they've heard about it, and the name's been swirling, but these hitters don't have experience against her. They don't have at-bats against her. And like, especially in this sport, the only way you get experience is through experience. You can watch film as much as you want. You need to step into a box and actually see how a pitcher's release point and how the ball looks like coming out of their hand.
I'd be interested if any teams like practice with their pitching against live pitching, just move that pitcher that they have up
to just deal with
simulate the speed, because that's all you can do. Because you can't just go and pick out someone that can throw 65 and say we're gonna practice against this. Well, maybe we have someone that can throw 58, but still pitch from 40 feet away or 35 feet away.
Yeah, but if you're
Just
moving
simulate that
closer,
speed.
you can't simulate that rise ball
I
then
know,
going
there's no way
that
to
high.
do
So
it.
there's nothing you can do. It's like, what do you do with a 65 rise ball? Like, how do you deal with that?
What you do is
If they're above right here, right above the letters, that pitch is dead to me. I can't.
the rise ball is the toughest pitch to hit in softball, and professional swing at it. You look at the college game. There are a lot of college athletes that you'll watch any college game, and these are watch any Power 5 SEC, whatever you want. You're gonna see at least 5 hitters a game swinging a pitch that you're gonna from TV go, what are you doing swinging at that? That was at your head. But when you're deciding to swing, it's at your hip. Oh, this looks like money. I'm going to drill this swing. And it was like up here. It's so hard to hit. It's so hard to square up. But the caveat is, like, you would argue the slider might be the hardest pitch to hit in baseball when it's executed.
One of,
Would
yeah.
you argue
Like
that?
when you're right-handed,
executed slider, probably the hardest pitch to hit. But the caveat is a unexecuted slider is the easiest pitch to hit when it hangs. So if a rise ball doesn't rise,
it just hangs. Yeah.
Of course, you're having a ball that's already being elevated, and you get to square it up. It's leaving the ballpark really quick.
On the flip side, when you throw that rise ball at 65, you can kind of leave it somewhere too. Someone has to catch up to it.
Rise ball pitchers have that reputation of they're going to strike out a lot of hitters. They're going to give up some home runs. It's just going to happen. You're going to catch up to that. And it's already being elevated. And if you miss, if it doesn't rise as much as you want it to, it's going to go out of the yard pretty quick.
But that is the caveat too. And necessarily, it doesn't even have to be the power hitters. It just needs to be the hitters with the quickest bats that can hit home runs, because you use that pitcher.
She supplies the power.
Yeah.
That's the thing I would tell my lineup.
You use that speed against her and just square up the ball. And then if you could square it up, that's a big if.
I think the trap the hitters fall into, especially at this level, when they've never seen someone that throws this fast and they get kind of intimidated, is I got to swing harder now. I have to swing harder. You really don't. You just have to. I would try to encourage the hitters to not swing as hard, like lower your maybe a 70% swing, just square the ball up, because she supplies the power. You don't have to go in and just daddy hack the rise ball and drill it. I mean, you just got to meet the ball and contact it. So I think a lot of hitters probably fall into that trap of I got to swing harder to catch up with this ball, and that's counterintuitive. I know, but swinging harder is going to get you in the worst spots.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can't go up against someone like that can throw heat in either sport and look for a power swing approach too. I think everyone kind of had that blueprint out on Aroldis Chapman in Major League Baseball. A guy that could throw over 100, is that you just kind of have to go with that contact approach, because if you go with the power swing, he's getting strikeouts all day too. And the way you kind of do it is, like you said, use that power that they have against them.
I appreciate that. I enjoy my time in the booth for now, but I will be coaching travel this summer and see how it goes. But yeah, I've always wanted to coach, and maybe somewhere down the line we can call myself Coach Hartwig. We'll see how it goes this summer.
For Georgia Tech, wearing that exact gear, you'd be like the Bill Belichick of the college world. You'd be wearing ball cap and hoodies, no suits or no khakis or polos. It's just a hoodie and a cap.
We're focused on NC
State. No interviews. Anthony never smiles.
We're moving on to NC State. We're gonna move on to NC State.
That's all Anthony cares about. Oh man, good interviews though with both Coach Ward and Sydney Watts. Coach Ward too, I believe he's entering into his 7th year coaching at the helm too at that Fitch program, doing a absolutely phenomenal job. And I mean, getting blessed, I guess, is the best way to say it, with 2 D1 level talent pitchers back to back, but he's also done a great job in building that program. We've had a chance to have him on Running Point before, and on top of what he's already done with just the team too, what he does kind of behind the scenes as far as team bonding, as far as the boosters are concerned, as far as just getting these youth programs involved into the sport too, and wanting to still participate through the ranks. And it just seems like Fitch, especially too in these a lot of these female sports, volleyball realm, softball realm, they do a great job of having that youth investment, and they continue it through high school. And once again, we're seeing it in spring here with softball.
I think with how big of a supporter Stephen Ward is of YSN and Running Point, I think we're going to have him on quite a bit this season.
We probably will. He's a great guy, and I mean, with the success that we expect the Falcons to have this season too, I'm sure he's going to be on a lot, regardless too, just in post games a lot too.
So I hope you're not tired of Stephen Ward, because you're going to hear from him an awful lot. They play Canfield again tonight. That game has been moved from Canfield to Austintown. Fitch.
Canfield's the home team, though, I believe, correct?
Yeah, Canfield's still going to be rewarded the home team. So they'll be the home team, but it'll be at Fitch.
Fitch is going to be hosting.
And like I said yesterday, that's going to happen a lot.
Especially with Fitch's facility too, and I mean just that all turf facility, and I mean it's really nice too to see that they were able to get that game on yesterday. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was cold out, don't get me wrong, but I mean the sun was shining. There wasn't a whole lot of clouds in the sky, so it wasn't like cold and cloudy. There was sunshine on the field for a decent part of the game too. Made it look nice, and it definitely looked a lot warmer than it felt on the screen.
Just got some breaking news from Coach DeRose from South Range. Tonight's game that was supposed to be at Jefferson has been moved to South Range. So the Raiders will host Jefferson tonight instead of traveling to Jefferson. So that is a schedule update for you South Range or Jefferson softball fans out there. You are now going to be at South Range High School instead of at Jefferson.
The Raiders are like, thank God we don't got to make the drive. And Jefferson's like, what? We got to make a drive today?
South Range is one of those fields like Fitch. It's not turf, but it has a drainage system, and it can take a pretty good amount of weather. So it's got a pretty good field conditions, and there have been a lot of games that have been moved to South Range because of field conditions. So it's going to be the same situation as Austintown Fitch. I think a lot of games this year are going to be moved to South Range. If there's rain in the morning or there's rain in the night before, we might see a lot of games get moved to South Range.
For baseball, softball especially, I kind of feel like the long rides to a field are kind of important too for this sport, just because it's so much about you being with yourself in a box, out on the field, on the bases. It's so much about you and yourself, and that kind of time to clear your mind and kind of just have that time with yourself. I feel like on that ride too, and kind of also experience it with the team if you really want to. Is kind of a cool experience. I feel like it's kind of necessary in baseball from time to time to take those long rides.
And that long ride, perfect segue. That long ride sometimes makes teams not want to travel that far if their weather is going to be even slightly iffy. We know that Fitch Baseball announced that their game on Friday against Ashtabula Lakeside has been postponed. Ashtabula Lakeside was supposed to come to Fitch, and that doubleheader between the JV and varsity is not going to happen on Friday. They have cited weather conditions, but you'll look at the forecast, and you don't think it'd be game time conditions because there's a chance of snow, I believe, in the morning, but the game time temperature is going to be 50, and we know that the field can take a little bit of snow. So, I would assume that is because Ashtabula is thinking roads might be, or maybe there's more weather up in Ashtabula that the roads would be a little bit hazardous to drive all the way to Fitch on Friday. So either way, whatever the reason, that game has been postponed. I believe you said May 6th is going to be the makeup date for that game. They've already decided it.
Well, because Lakeside's right there on the lake, so they might be getting lake effect snow, and those roads might get terrible then up there. So it literally just might be precautionary reasoning that they don't want to make the drive down here.
But whatever the reason, like I said, Friday, no more Fitch baseball. As of now, the softball game's still on against Western Reserve at home.
Yep,
But,
and of course
baseball has been canceled.
stay tuned to us, and we'll let you know if there's any updates on that one as well, because they are facing different opponents too. So we also saw softball get off yesterday, where baseball had to postpone that one as well. So
Softball's playing someone a lot more local too, so they won't have to worry about traveling far.
True.
Western Reserve, that's what, a 15-minute drive from Austin town, maybe. So hopefully all that stays intact. We can now move on. Let's finally move on to the other games that happened last night. Edison was able to flex their muscles as they christened their brand new baseball facility. I'm sure you got a chance to see it, or at least check in on. Oh my gosh. I'm going to bring up this comment that we got earlier. I didn't want to put it up while we were talking about pitch softball, because it had to do with the Edison baseball field. It looks immaculate.
The picture that DJ posted, I got to see before I started doing my game, and it looked gorgeous. And where they placed DJ is almost like the perfect spot to one of the best spots to kind of experience the game. And when I tuned in on it too, when I first tuned in on it, I was just getting in my car and I saw it was like 18-0, and I was like, well, Wildcats were ready to break in this new stadium, and they were excited.
That was the final score. All the stats and the recap can be found on ysnlive.com. What I did see was that East Liverpool did struggle with throwing strikes and trying to get hitters out. I think they walked 13 and hit 5. So that's not a good way to win a baseball game. But cold conditions, like we said, it's hard to grip that baseball.
Very
obviously the command got away. But Edison pitching obviously did a really good job. I believe they only allowed 1 hit the whole game.
Especially if like these Liverpool guys are younger and you're throwing them out there, they're not kind of used to not being able to feel their fingertips when they're throwing the baseball too. And Edison, Coach Colopy, he's been doing this a long time. He's been successful with the Wildcats. He's had, I think, one of the most wins, if not the most wins all time with them. I mean, career winning percentage, something over, I think, 55. It's incredible. I don't remember the exact stat lines, but it's incredible. 14 years, I think, is what his tenure has been there at Edison. He's been doing a phenomenal job. And honestly, what we saw there, too, is he just had his team ready. And you knew they were going to be ready with that new field. They were excited, too. It was just a perfect storm. And it was just the worst kind of storm for East Liverpool to be stuck in, because it was just younger guys kind of trying to deal with the cold opening day jitters in that first game, on top of the fact that Edison was coming in. They were excited because they had this beautiful field and they wanted to break it in.
Pitching's mental. When you lose command, it's hard to kind of pull in the reins and say, okay, that's why I hate people in the stands go, just throw strikes. Once you kind of lose that command, you're fighting against it, and it's hard to just kind of make that adjustment on the fly and say, okay, I'm going to throw strikes now.
There's a lot of moving parts that goes into making one pitch in baseball. A lot of moving parts. And if you move even just one of those is just tweaked a little bit, whether it's where your foot is being planted, how far you're bringing up your shoulder, where your release point is. Like, so many little variable factors that if one thing's even off slightly, it can just throw your whole rhythm, your whole mechanics off, and you could just be throwing the ball outside of the zone. You can't find the zone, it seems like.
It's funny, like this, the little dip in your shoulder can change your pitch dramatically.
Literally. It is so, and that's why we say
it's like simple. You can barely even see it on the screen, but like just a little dip in your shoulder.
It's ridiculous how
same thing with a swing though. Like one little thing in your swing, and all of a sudden you're under the ball and you're uppercutting and you're not swinging right. It's the mechanics in this sport. It's already a hard sport, but then you feel like how many moving parts have to go together to have good mechanics, and you're like, oh my gosh, how are people doing this at a high level?
I forget which coach I remember told me this, and it was definitely when I was younger, but they said something along the lines is baseball is constantly trying to chase perfection, knowing you'll never obtain it, and only getting a taste of it, little spurts at a time between long valleys. It's like it's the truth though. You're always chasing for that consistency that you'll never be able to hold, but you'll catch it for glimpses, a day or a stretch of like a week at a time, where it's like everything in your swing's feeling good, or you're doing everything perfectly consistently.
You're seeing a beach ball, as they like to say.
But it will always go away is the thing. Right. Is the incredible thing about baseball. You're chasing that perfection only to get glimpses of it.
This sport will humble you so quick. It's not even funny. Like you could be the hottest hitter on the team, and then all of a sudden you have a 2-week span where you get one hit.
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
don't know why.
We're just taking the word rockin' and just applying it to baseball season now. We go from rockin' Red Devils to rockin' Wildcats now.
Wait, rockin' Wildcats, rockin' Red Devils. It doesn't really doesn't roll off
I
the
feel
tongue.
like you got to go with something W though for Wildcats. Like rockin' Red Devils. The reason I went with rockin' Red Devils, it's just that alliteration. I love the 3 R's in a row. That's beautiful.
3 R's and there's 2. Rockin' Red.
Oh yeah,
Rockin'
that's
Red.
right. Rockin' Red. I don't know why I was thinking 3 R's. I was thinking reduce, reuse, recycle. That's what I was thinking of.
I was thinking reduce, reuse, recycle. Why?
I was thinking about National Recycling Day, I guess.
Here comes the derailing.
Yeah,
Real
there
quick.
No, no. We got enough baseball, softball to talk about. We also have Steve Wesley, I believe, that you said is going to be joining us today, which it's the debut of Steve
Excuse me.
Wesley on the new era of Running Point, and we're excited.
1:30, yeah. And he's going to be joining us. I believe he told me from Scene Park.
And
So
of course, if you don't know Steve Wesley, then you don't know Scene Park, and if you don't know Scene Park, then you don't know Steve Wesley because they're kind of synonymous.
he's going to give us a really good big picture baseball preview of just baseball in the area, what teams are going to be really good, what players to watch. He knows it so well. So many teams play at Scene. He knows these players like the back of his hand because not only do they play in the high school at Scene, but then they play in the Class B league. So he's got a relationship with all the coaches. He's going to be able to give us a really good broad strokes preview of this baseball season. And that'll come up at 1:30. While we're previewing the show, we're also going to be featuring an interview with champion senior Maddie Jones from the softball team. Had a chance to talk with her off the air yesterday. So we're going to be featuring that interview as well today.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exciting too. Whenever you talk about champion softball, it's exciting when we could get interviews with that. Such a prestigious program in the last few years too, and it's definitely kind of become the mecca, I guess I would say, in the area for softball. Especially when you do 3-peats in high school, not an easy thing to do at state championships. To get a 3-peat and I mean champion. They might be looking to get some more gold added. They're never far off from another one, it feels like.
We'll stay on the champion train tomorrow because we're going to be able to feature a recorded interview tomorrow with Sarah Weaver, head coach of the champion softball team.
You're not going to want to miss that one either. And you're going to want to stay tuned to the site for when that one gets posted.
I don't think it is an understatement to use the word legend for that interview.
She's like 6 rings.
I hope she shows up in her 6 rings for the interview. Just like holds them up like this, talking like this. Yeah, guys. So I think that
pose. She needs to do the Jordan pose with the 6 rings during the whole time. Just that Jordan pose with those 6 rings. She did a 3-peat. Not just her, obviously. The girls did, but she coached a 3-peat team. And that's not easy to do for the girls' standpoint, from the coaching standpoint. Winning 3 state titles in a row is not easy to do in any sport, let alone softball when it takes one game, one pitching performance.
Capped off that last one with no runs allowed in the whole tournament.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. And all it takes, like we said, one pitching performance from an opposing pitcher to kind of mow you down, mow your lineup down. You don't score any runs. They're able to get one across on you. And that kind of 3-peat never happens too. But to kind of put together that kind of perfect stretch of 3 seasons, 3 consecutive tournament runs, from the coaching aspect to putting the right girls in the right places, to the girls executing in those spots too, to the pitching, to the hitting, timely hitting, like you say too. I mean, that's a phenomenal run that champion went down in, and we're definitely best believe we're going to bring that up. We're going to be talking about that run and just talking about what it's going to take to get back to that point now that she's been there 6 times with 6 rings. She's been there more than 6 times, but been there, walked away with the title 6 times. I mean, she knows how to win too, and it's great to have these kind of coaches in the area that we can talk to.
So that'll be featured on tomorrow's show. Don't miss that today. Once again, Steve Wesley at 1:30. And we are going to feature an interview with Maddie Jones today as well. We have one more softball game that happened last night that we have to talk about. Louisville opened the season with an 8-6 win over Massillon, and it was one where they had to hang on. Furious rally by Massillon in the top of the 7th inning. They scored 5 runs to cut an 8-1 lead into 8-6, but Louisville was able to get a strikeout to end the game. No, a ground out to end the game and get out of the threat with runners on second and third.
Leopards looking really good, too, and that's a nice little win, too, to start the season against a Federal League opponent and holding them off. And Louisville continuing to schedule up independently with that independent schedule. They go into that Federal League multiple times with all sports, too, and they opened it up with a Federal League team, and that's a nice win to start the season. We both called it, too. And that gives me a lot more.
We weren't gonna go against the banner on opening day.
Not on opening day, too, but I was definitely worried about this one because you never know what these teams are going to look like year to year. I know Lady Leps looked good last year, but I was kind of curious to see if they progress and they're going to look just as good or even better than last year. First game, they looked really good, too, and that's a nice win against a good quality team.
Sophomore Kinsey Denzer, 2 home runs on the day. She'll be someone to definitely watch out for all season. When you hit 2 home runs in a game, that's doing something really special.
She's like another one.
Another one. Bat flipping all over the place.
Just
You can't stop me.
Unbelievable. What a day. What an opening day, too. Not a lot of quantity of games, but some quality performances we have seen from certain players in the area.
I mean, look at this. I mean, you got 18 runs by an Edison offense. That's pretty impressive. That's not seen a lot. 19 strikeouts by Sydney Watts. That's not seen a lot. 2 home runs in a game by Kinsey Denzer of Louisville. That's not seen a lot either. So some pretty special performances in the 3 games we had on, I guess you could officially call it opening day on March 29th. Write it down, circle it on your calendar. That's when we open the spring season.
Yeah, take a little glimpse into this, into the bag, and just look at the tip of the iceberg that you saw too, as far as baseball and softball talent in the area, because you're going to see a lot more. That's, like we said, just the tip of the iceberg of what you're going to expect and what you should expect this upcoming season.
Tip of the iceberg, cherry on top of the pie, whatever you want to say.
Cherry on the pie.
Great opening day, and we enjoyed it. Today we're going to have we'll go over the schedule today. I know there are a couple of cancellations. I'll look to see a up-to-date look at our schedule. But I believe we have more games on today than we did yesterday. I think that's a solid bet. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more Running Point. Don't forget at 1:30, Steve Wesley. And we are also going to be featuring an interview with Maddie Jones. All that coming up and more on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as we continue through this Wednesday episode of Running Point. And Ty, we have a lot going on into our updated schedule, which of course we learned yesterday can change very rapidly. But right now, as of now, only one game canceled today so far on the baseball and softball realms, and that is East at Cardinal Mooney. That was supposed to be a softball game at Field of Dreams has been postponed. Everything else is good to go. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 confirmed baseball games right now, a couple of them waiting in the wings. And we'll have one confirmed softball game along with a tennis broadcast from Struthers. And we will also have YSU baseball against Michigan State. So 7 high school baseball games, YSU baseball against Michigan State, a softball game, and tennis on YSN tonight. Be busy.
Yep, absolutely. Should be
picks to make too, which is exciting.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of picks to make too. Presumably either just before or just after Steve Leslie comes on too. We'll probably have those picks as well. As I don't believe, when they asked Boardman and Hallen, I don't think got off yesterday.
No, they did not. Both games, baseball and softball, were canceled. After we went off the air, they were late cancellations. Obviously, they were trying to hold on. Don't know if it was field conditions or if the weather just didn't get as warm as they wanted it to by the time it was to make a decision. I know at first pitch in Edison, it was 38 degrees, which is pretty cold. And I know Steve Ward was telling me that the AAC has the 40-degree mark that they like to kind of keep. So I don't know if did you check first pitch temperature when you were out there at Fitch?
I didn't
just
check
for reference.
I think it was 41.
Whew, there's one dot. We're doing it. Let's go.
I think it was like 41, 42, something like that. But it might have dipped below after game time, after first pitch.
It doesn't matter. Once we're going, we're going. It's first pitch temperature. If it dips below, we're not stopping the game. Can you imagine if you're doing a game, first pitch was 55 degrees, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere at 6 o'clock it drops to 29, and you're sitting there this is way below safe.
I think they would at some point because they've called games early for rain, and I think they do it. If because an older umpire, especially if it's 22, he's not sitting out there. He's gonna be no, we're leaving.
He's sitting there I'm out. No, yeah, he's doing the whole Tyreek Hill. Yeah. Peace out. I'm out.
He's let's call this game. Let's get out of here. I'm not.
Waddle to his car. He doesn't even say anything. He just walks off the field in between innings. I'm out. Where'd the umpire go?
He's calling the game from his car in the outfield. He's out in center field behind the fence in the car.
I saw it. It's the strike.
Just literally with their binoculars, just looking out the car. You just see his arm come out the window for strikes and balls.
That's how my brain works. As soon as you said binoculars, I think of the kids and angels in the outfield that are watching from the tree.
They're doing that.
Hey, you better have tickets for that tree. In fact, I do. Oh, man. Why don't we get back on track, Ty, and get to this pre-recorded interview with Maddie Jones of Champion Softball. We'll play it. We'll come back, have a little bit of time to talk before Steve Leslie comes on at 1:30, and then we'll kind of have a good baseball talk with him at 1:30. So without further ado, this is Champion Senior Maddie Jones in a pre-recorded interview with me for a player profile on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig here on Running Point with another player profile for the softball season. We're joined by Champion Senior Maddie Jones. Maddie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
when you talk about champion softball in the area, I think everyone kind of understands what that program is and what that program means. Before we go into your season and what you expect and your goals and all that fun stuff, talk about what it's like playing in this program with the expectations and the prestige that it has, and what it's like, being a part of that culture.
Playing for Champion is amazing. I honestly cannot picture myself at any other school playing. The coaches are amazing. The players are always great. There's never any drama. It's just absolutely amazing.
When you were growing up and you were watching Champion softball succeed like it has in the last decade, you guys have won 6 state championships as a program. You've been to 9. What was it like aspiring to be a champion varsity softball player? And then when you finally got that position, you got that role, what was that kind of moment like?
It's absolutely an amazing feeling. To know that I played with in the same school as like Allison Smith, Mackenzie Zigmont and them. It's just amazing.
Who are some people growing up in the champion softball realm did you look up to and you try to kind of mold after and you try to absorb as much knowledge as you could from?
I say my biggest role models were my 2 older sisters who have played for the champion team. One of my sisters who's been in the state championship. They have honestly been my biggest role models.
All right, so when you're coming into this program and you know how many state championships you've won and you know what the standard is there, does it put any pressure on you guys to not be the one class that doesn't live up to expectations, or is it kind of just ho-hum in this program?
There is a lot of pressure because we've just had great teams in the past, and if we don't live up to it, it's just, I don't know. But I say if we don't succeed as much as they did, our fans and everything do an amazing job supporting us in any way they can.
What kind of things do you guys do to kind of separate yourselves from those teams and realize that you're a different team, you're not that team, and you don't have to be that team, you just have to go and be kind of yourselves?
Our thing is we all know we're not teams in the past, so we all come together to realize that, hey, it's going to be a tough season, win or lose. We're still going to be the best we can, and we know that everyone will be proud of us regardless of the outcome.
Obviously, a big reason for champion success is up the top with Cheryl Weaver and the job that she does coaching. Talk about what it's like being coached by her and how much she has helped you grow as a softball player and a person.
Her coaching us is absolutely amazing. She always has a positive outlook on everything. Win or lose, she always says how well we did, and she's just a great coach all around. All of the coaches are.
When you look at some of the things that she is doing that maybe people, the public, don't see, what's something about Cheryl Weaver that you think people should know that they don't necessarily get to see, outside of the game?
That she is an awesome person. She's always knows how to make sure you're okay. If you're having a bad game, she will pull you aside and tell you it's okay. She's just absolutely amazing.
All right, let's get a little bit more into your season. This is your last go around in champion. You're a senior. What's it like getting ready for this season and trying to hold off the anticipation of the first game?
It's nerve-wracking because we lost very good players last year. We lost a very good catcher, Brooke Witt, and we lost our dominant pitchers we've had. But I think we are going to have a very good season. It's just we're going to have to see and wait.
And the thing about your season, you look at your schedule, and you have a schedule that it's at the level that a team that's fighting for a state championship should be. You play a lot of really good teams and a lot of tough opponents outside of the already insanely hard MVAC that you play in. Talk about what it's like knowing that you're building a schedule that is going to really prepare you guys for postseason.
When Coach Weaver puts the schedule all together. She always tries to put us with big D1, D2 schools because she knows that they are going to make us better in the end, and that's what has led us to the amount of championships we have had. She just knows our place and how well we're going to grow throughout the season, so I say playing the bigger teams are a good fit for us.
You guys have been together as a team for a while now. You've had practices under your belt. What are some team goals that you guys have discussed, and if you guys have kind of set for yourselves expectations-wise this year?
Our expectations are and always has been doing a such amount fielding percentage and hitting percentage. We've had a few scrimmages already, and our hitting has been phenomenal. Our fielding has been pretty good too, but so far our hitting is just on point right now.
When you look at some of the personal goals that you've set for yourself this season, what are they? What are some personal goals you have?
My personal goals are just to leave it out on the field. It's my last year, so I'm just trying to have a very good time with the last few months I have left playing.
Yeah, I mean, the time's whittling down. Talk about this senior class, what it's like to be with them and play with them, and what kind of relationships you've built with the senior class that you play with at Champion.
I've been playing with this senior class since we were 14. They've always been amazing. I say these past couple years we have grown a lot closer. They're just amazing. I love them, and I'm really going to miss playing with them.
We've talked about your role models in the softball world and the Champion program, but what about role models in life that you have had growing up that have helped you through everything? What are some role models you have in life outside of softball?
My role models have always and always will be my family. Like I said, my 2 older sisters. Then my parents have just always been there for me through everything.
And I know you guys have some youth in this Champion program as well. As a senior group, what's it been like trying to gel the younger players with you guys and mold as a team?
Having the younger girls there are definitely different from last year and years past, but I say them being there is just absolutely amazing. Each and every single one of them has a talent that they bring to the team.
We know team chemistry is so important, and I know softball teams do a lot of things off the field to try to build team chemistry. What are some things that Champion softball does to kind of build the relationships with each other and keep chemistry as tight as it is?
Every year as a tradition, right before tournaments and stuff, we call it forking. We go throw a whole bunch of plastic forks and streamers and stuff in Coach Weaver's yard. It's just a great bonding experience.
Talk about some of your favorite memories with Champion and what you're going to look back on when you graduate and say, these are my favorite memories with this softball program.
My favorite memories are definitely the dancing before each game. Our huddles, we always have a fun conversation, and definitely the bus rides. The bus rides can get pretty fun with the singing and stuff.
You guys as seniors, and you're not alone. You went through something that a lot of generations don't have to go through with the missed year of 2020 and the COVID year. What was it like for you going through that and trying to bounce back from that last year and try to make last year as special as it could be?
Since a lot of us last year, or all of us last year, skipped a year, it was very weird coming back to not having Allison Smith there anymore, Sophie Howe, or any of them. So we really had to focus back on pitching and stuff because we lost 2 of our dominant pitchers that year.
I know last year you fell a little bit short in that district championship game, a really good softball game where either team probably could have won it. But last year as a whole, was there kind of a hunger to maybe a frustration of losing that year when you guys had such a big roster back and you were coming off of 3 straight championships? Was there kind of almost a hunger and a frustration out for that year to kind of try to get back to where you were in 2019?
Yes, there definitely was. Every year we say that we would love to make it back to the championship. And last year we just fell real short of it. So we were all upset, but we were all excited and happy of the outcome of how far we made it.
Yeah, now coming into this year and after with the way last year's season ended, how hungry do you think this team really is to go out and get back to regionals and make a run at that state tournament?
We're hoping to get there. All of us have already talked about it, and it would just be amazing to be there once more.
Talk about this champion community and what it's like to play for them and what it's like to know that the champion supporters and the people that go to champion always have your back.
Playing for champion and the community and stuff is just amazing. Win or lose, they support us in every way. They always know how to cheer and like stuff like that. And going to state and stuff, we always have a big amount of fans. And on the way back when we win, when we're driving home on the bus, they always come and line up and cheer for us. It's just absolutely amazing.
We know that you're a student and an athlete, so let's talk about your schooling a little bit. What are some of your favorite subjects, and are there any teachers in the champion high school world that have kind of impacted your schooling career?
I can't name a specific one because champion all around K through 12 has amazing teachers, and they're also real big supporters of us, so it's amazing.
What about subjects that you like and things that you a major that you might want to kind of get into when you go into college?
My favorite subject is math, so I'm actually going to be majoring in early childhood education.
Have you made a decision yet on college on where you're going to go in the future, or are you still undecided?
I'm going to be attending Kent Trumbull.
There you go. When you look at when you graduate from champion and you kind of look back on your years there, what are going to be some of the legacies that you hope you left and the footprints that you left on this school and on all the sports teams that you played for?
I'm hoping just to leave how much I supported and all of my teammates and stuff like that, always cheering regardless, win or lose. I just hope to leave that good sportsmanship is always a plus and you need it.
Got to have some fun before we let you go. Talk about any superstitions that you have, pregame routines, things like that you have to stick to. If you don't, you kind of feel off for a game.
I feel off if we don't have our dugout dances before each and every game. It's just something we've done for I don't know how long now, and it's always just a real good time.
All right, it's a dancing team. Who's the best dancer on this roster?
Probably Bella Meyer.
All right, who's the one girl on this roster that no matter what the situation is in the dugout, or if you're down or if you're up, can always make people laugh and kind of lighten the situation and keep you guys loose?
I say all of us as a whole, but the one person that really does it for me is probably Morgan Davis or Bella Meyer again.
What's your pregame playlist sound like? What kind of music gets you really jazzed and hyped up for a game?
Mine is country and stuff like that, or major throwbacks. But as a team, it's definitely like hip hop or like rap of some sort.
If you got a walk-up song, what would it be?
Oh, I don't even know.
Do you have like that one song that's like it'll get you hyped up no matter what you're going through? It's like this song is gonna get me jazzed.
For games, it would definitely be "We Ready." It's just the words speak for itself.
That's a popular one. What is something that you do to kind of take your mind off softball if it gets overwhelming, or try to kind of relax and enjoy your life outside of softball? What are some of your hobbies?
Definitely playing with my little sister. She definitely keeps my mind off of like school stuff and other major events happening in my life.
There another softball player in the future of the Jones family coming up?
I'm hoping.
What about favorite post-game meal after a big win? What do you like to put in your belly?
I'm a big fan of Mexican, so probably some sort of type of Mexican food.
Chipotle?
El Torero is definitely my favorite.
There you go. What's the go-to order at El Torero?
It's called steak chihuahua. It's steak and rice with like this cheesy type sauce. It's amazing.
All right, before we let you go, we like to give every player that we interview the chance to kind of thank their support system and the people that have been there for them all throughout the years. So I want to kind of give you the time to give shout outs to the people that are always there for you and the people that you wouldn't be where you are without.
I just want to thank my family, every past coach I've had, and current coaches. You've all done amazing, shaping me to the player and person I am today.
All right, Maddie, thank you so much for joining us today, giving us a little bit of look inside your senior season. We look forward to covering you all year, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to Running Point. That was Maddie Jones of Champion Softball. Pre-recorded interview. If you missed it and want to see it in its entirety, it is on ysnlive.com. It was presented by Baird Brothers, and we thank them for their wonderful sponsor. We are presented by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown on Running Point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great interview too, as you were able to get a chance to catch up with one of Champion seniors, and it was really nice just to kind of hear that from one of the senior leaders this year, the ones that kind of went through that experience of that 2020 season, but have experienced that both highs and lows in recent memory of Champion, and having that one kind of last dance to get back to that kind of big grand game and at least get to regionals. It's her last chance, and it's a lot of these seniors for Champion's last chance too, after last year falling a bit short. But like she said, and I got to imagine all the girls on that team, as they're all hungry for this season.
So Ty, the reason there was a little bit of delay at the end of that video, while we were getting it, we had a lot of kind of location changes happening throughout the softball and baseball schedule today. So here are some updates that we have gotten. We already talked about South Range being moved to South Range. Poland and Hubbard will now both baseball and softball be playing at Poland instead of at Hubbard. So those games have been moved to North Elementary School for softball and to the high school at Poland for baseball. 5:15 first pitch for softball, 5 o'clock first pitch for baseball. So those both have been moved. So if you're a fan of either of those teams, don't go to Hubbard. You'll go and you'll show up and there will be no one there, and then you'll be sad. At Poland for both. And then we have West Branch that moved their game against Alliance softball to home, and now it has been officially postponed. So West Branch versus Alliance, they tried to get it in. They tried to move it to West Branch. Just the fields aren't ready yet over there in Beloit. So that game has been postponed. West Branch is scheduled to host Carrollton tomorrow. So hopefully that will be their season opener for the Warriors. So those are a couple of updates that we have gotten in the last 10 minutes of the day for the schedule today.
Yep, and stay tuned with us. We'll keep you updated on all the games that are moving around the valley too, as we continue to follow our local teams and try to just stay up to date with them as these crazy weather patterns move games around, postpone games, cancel games, shift them, and all kinds of other things too. We'll deal with all the craziness, and we'll let you know here on ysnlive.com.
And so that's what we got. And we're going to actually take our next break, come back. We're going to make our picks for the day, and then we will get ready for Steve Leslie at 1:30. That's how this is going to shake up. So we're going to take a step away, and when we come back, we'll start doing our game picks for the day, and then we'll get ready for Steve Leslie coming on at 1:30. This is Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. We have one more final from last night. It was a game that was played at a non-YSN team, so sorry that we initially missed it, but West Branch did fall to Minerva 7-4 in baseball last night. They are scheduled to meet again with the Lions tonight in West Branch for their home opener. We already have the starting lineup for this, so let's Nick Wilson will lead off, and then it'll be Boston Molinix, and then Bo Alazas, then Hunter Shields, Garrison Martin, Aaron Tucker, Zach Peters, Anthony Perry, and Gavin Bell. That's how West Branch will line up today against Minerva. And the pitcher getting the start today will be Bo Alazas for West Branch. So that's how they'll line up, and it's going to be the home opener for the Warriors tonight against Minerva.
Yep, and hoping to bounce back against Minerva this time around are the Warriors.
All right, Ty, it is time for a full day of picks. Very exciting, and we'll start with, I guess, baseball. Just go right down the line. Ty, let's start with the first game on the schedule, which is your game. Chagrin Falls at Austintown Fitch. This is baseball again. Ty, how do you think this one's going to go?
I'm going to go Falcons in their home opener.
I'll go Fitch as well. I don't think they lose their home opener. And honestly, I don't know what Chagrin Falls brings to the table, baseball-wise, to be quite transparent.
Anthony was just going off of me that time.
Yeah, I'm not going to rock against the banner when I don't know about the team.
Yeah, that's fair, though.
This one will go on at Scene Park at 5 o'clock. Scene 1 will be the field this one is at, and it is Champion Brookfield. I'll go first with this one. I'm going to take the Flashes to get the win tonight.
I was going to take Champion as well.
Champion. We go back to Edison versus East Liverpool. This one happening in East Liverpool, and it'll be Mike McKenzie on the call, calling his rival. Oh, man.
A turncoat.
Be kind, Mike. Be kind. Edison at East Liverpool. Obviously, last night, Edison flexed their muscles. I think this one will be more competitive. Ty, what about you? How do you think this one goes?
I think it'll be more competitive, but I'm going to stay on the Mike train. We got Mike McKenzie. I'll go Mike Colopy and the Edison Wildcats with this one. I think their pitching depth is really looked impressive yesterday too, and they've been successful for a long time. So they're a tough team to beat out of the gates.
I'll take Edison as well. Indian Creek at Beaver Local has been postponed for baseball. That is a new development, but we can say it now, and that might be why Mike McKenzie moved to
That
East
would be a
Liverpool.
good game, though, too. Indian Creek and Beaver Local would be a pretty good matchup.
So we move on to scene 3 at 5 o'clock. The Lakeview students will have the call for this one, and it is the Bulldogs versus Struthers on scene 3, an NE8 matchup for baseball. It is my first pick because you picked Edison and East Liverpool first. I am going to take. Give me Lakeview. I'm gonna take the Bulldogs.
I gotta make it interesting. Give me the Cats. I'll take Cats and Dogs versus Cats. I'll take Struthers. So I gotta write that down. So it's Lakeview Struthers.
We split on Lakeview Struthers baseball. Make sure we know that so we don't.
Okay.
All right. Liberty at Garfield tonight. It is going to be on the network. Alec Caberna will have the call. He'll be going up to Garrettsville for this one. See, I don't know what Liberty brings back pitching wise. I know their pitchers last year were really phenomenal, but I don't know what it's like this year. I don't know how many of those pitchers were seniors. So this one's tough.
A solid team too. Garrettsville's always a solid program.
I'm gonna go with Garfield on this one. Garrettsville, Garfield at home with the home victory.
I'll go Garrettsville, I think, as well.
We go to the EOAC. This one not on the network, but is happening. Lisbon at United baseball. I'm gonna take the Lisbon Blue Devils to get the opening day win.
Yeah, give me Lisbon as well.
All right, we go down to Newton Falls, traveling to Crestview in the MVAC gray tier. 5 o'clock first pitch, not on the network, but is happening. Give me
my pick, I think, right?
Oh, it is your pick. I'm sorry. Good job. It's your pick.
Give me the Falls. I'm taking Newton Falls.
Give me Crestview.
All right.
I'm going to split with you on this one. Give me the Rebels.
All right. We got it down. Baseball, Newton Falls, and Crestview. Got it.
All right. We move on. This is a location change again. Want to reiterate this. Hubbard now playing at Poland. Hubbard at Poland for baseball. Not on the network is happening. My first pick this time, right?
Yes.
I'll take Poland.
I'll take Poland as well.
We go into going traveling to Canton South is going to be Derek Rhodes for Salem baseball, and it'll be the Quakers on the road against Canton South to open up their season. 5 o'clock first pitch. Ty, first pick, right?
No, mine. I think.
Okay, it's yours. Sorry,
I'll take Quakers.
I'm so confused.
I'll take the Quakers.
Yeah, I'll take the Quakers as well. South Range baseball still traveling to Jefferson as far as we know. And that first pitch is 5 o'clock. I'm going to take South Range in the baseball matchup with the Falcons.
Yeah, give me the Raiders.
All right. Springfield traveling to Lowville on scene 2. This one happening in scene as well. 5 o'clock first pitch. Rockets, Tigers. This one is your first pick. And who are you going to take?
Give me the Tigers.
Give me the Tigers as well. We go to Canfield hosting Strongsville. TJ Oakley will be on the call. By the way, Noah Doty is calling that Springfield-Lowville game at scene. So Canfield hosting, almost at Sharpsville. It's not Sharpsville. That's in PA. Hosting Strongsville. TJ Oakley on the call, 5 o'clock first pitch. And all that made me lose track, but I think it's my pick. I'll go with Canfield. There's the shocker.
Give me Canfield as well.
This one not on the network, but is happening. Wellsville at East Palestine baseball. It's your first pick. I don't have to think right
now. I'll go all Tigers today. I picked Newton Falls and Springfield. Give me the Tigers again.
Give me Wellsville as well. This one 7 o'clock on scene 2. It is LeBray versus Camel. Give me LeBray.
Give me LeBray.
And this one 7 o'clock on scene 3. It is going to be JFK at versus Ursuline.
Ooh.
Lakeview students will have the call here. So Lakeview students pulling double duty at scene. JFK Ursuline. This one's a biggie. Is it my first pick or yours? It's mine, right? You picked LeBray first. No, you picked Wellsville East Palestine first, and I picked. So it's your first pick.
Give me Ursuline.
Really?
Give me Ursuline.
Give me JFK.
All right.
All right, that'll do it for baseball tonight. Let's go over to the softball diamond. Want to remind everybody, East against Cardinal Mooney at Field of Dreams has been postponed. That game not happening. I just got an update from a West Branch parent that apparently something happened that Alliance's field now feels ready. So they're going to play that game at Alliance. West Branch at Alliance is happening. We'll pick that. Why don't we just open up with that one? West Branch at Alliance softball tie. Also, I missed the West Branch Minerva baseball game. It's not on our schedule. It must be something that Quinn hasn't gotten to yet. But Minerva West Branch baseball quick. We'll wrap up the baseball, then we'll go to West Branch softball.
Give me the Warriors bounce back at home.
Yeah, give me the Warriors as well. And then in the softball, I'll take West Branch as well against Alliance.
I'm taking West Branch as well.
Okay, so West Branch sweeps in our picks. Now we go to the rest of the softball. East and Mooney postponed. We have none on the network, but happening. LeBray at Camel softball. I'm going to take LeBray.
Yeah, give me the Vikings. Lady Vikings.
This one, Lisbon at United, a big one in the EOAC. None of the network is happening. First pitch, 5:00.
I went with Lisbon one way. This time I'm flying with the Eagles. Give me United softball.
All right. I will take Emmerling's coming back. Dustus Frable's coming back. That's a tough first game for United. I'm going to take Lisbon. Write it down.
You know these teams, and I mean, this is one where you might be able to, the softball realm, you might be able to get some separation on me.
Newton Falls at Crestview tonight. 5:00 first pitch for softball. Who you got? It's my first pick. I'm taking Crestview. Caden Sutton, Carson Moore.
Yeah.
Probably the best battery mates in the area as far as it.
I'll take them as well. I'll take Crestview.
Sorry. We're just talking over each other. To talk about catchers that know each other like the back of their hands. Carson Moore, Caden Sutton getting their last go around, starting in Crestview. I will take the Rebels to get the win tonight over Newton Falls. Liberty at Garfield tonight at 5:00 first pitch. You're my first pick, right? I'm going to take Garfield.
Yeah, I'm taking Garfield as well.
We have Edison softball at Beaver Local. At Beaver Local.
Give me Beaver Local.
Give me Edison. Write it down. We're splitting. No, see, now they're on the schedule twice. I think it's Edison against East Liverpool. I think that's a reschedule, and they moved the Beaver Local game. I think Quinn just forgot to delete that Edison Beaver Local game. So I believe softball is playing at East Liverpool tonight for Edison, because it doesn't make sense that Beaver Local would cancel their home baseball game and not their home softball game.
Then I'll do Edison.
Okay, so we both pick Edison over East Liverpool. Wellsville softball at East Palestine, 5:00 first pitch. And it is my first pick, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know much about either of these teams. East Palestine. Just to make our CEO a little bit happy, I'll pick the Bulldogs.
Do I pick Wellsville to give them the split? I don't know. We've split on some games. Yeah, let me get EP in there. I didn't pick EP in baseball, I don't believe. I'll take EP here.
All right. Canfield going to Fitch again, another matchup. I believe Canfield will be the designated home team this time around, even though it's at Austintown Fitch. Ty, you going to make it a Fitch sweep?
I presume they're going to throw Watts again. Yeah, give me Fitch.
Let me text Stephen Ward. Are you pitching Watts? Question. It's really important.
It's really important to Anthony. I mean, that's the question mark, but
No, I think either way, I think Fitch gets the opening season sweep of Canfield. I'm going to take the Falcons.
This is actually a pretty beneficial schedule for Fitch, and as far as conference play is concerned, because we said Canfield, Howland, kind of like your wild cards. Boardman's going to be like, I think, the one that's really going to be contending and chasing the Falcons, but to kind of take one of those wild cards early in the season too, and not let them kind of get that experience and develop through the season. I mean, this is a way for Fitch to get two conference wins too, but also if Canfield gets a big win here, imagine that kind of momentum that would propel them for the rest of the season.
All right, now South Range is hosting Jefferson, so the schedule has changed. I will now be at South Range tonight for this softball game.
Anthony's so happy he gets to go a little bit closer.
No, I mean, I think, to me, Poland and South Range are pretty much the same distance, but the deciding factor was Poland's originally scheduled. This is how crazy softballs and baseball schedules are. So the week originally scheduled for me was supposed to be Monday, Poland and Hubbard, Tuesday, South Range hosting Jefferson. I'm supposed to be off on Wednesdays because my mom babysits, but softball schedules are weird. So she babysat yesterday. So then Thursday was supposed to be at Poland for Canfield, and Friday, yada yada yada. But the schedule has changed so dramatically that now, since I'm going to be at Poland tomorrow, and right now, as of now, it's the only game at South Range this week. We've kind of, all right, I'll be at South Range tonight, and we'll be at Poland tomorrow.
Get a little South Range coverage in.
See how Julie Stakowicz kind of takes her mantle as the number one pitcher. Obviously, they're trying to fill the void of Bree Kohler, who went on to pitch at YSU this season.
For
my first pick, I think.
Yeah.
I'll take South Range in their season opener over Jefferson.
I'll take South Range as well. And I thought what you meant is that you were going to Jefferson and following South Range.
That game got moved to
you just
South
saved
Range.
yourself a lot of driving time.
I was not scheduled to be at Jefferson. They were going to be at Jefferson on Monday. That game has been pushed. I don't even know if they're going to still try to travel to Jefferson or if Jefferson's going to be the home team tonight. This was supposed to be the game at Jefferson. It got switched to the game. It got switched today to South Range. So this was supposed to be their game at Jefferson. So I don't know what the plan is as far as if this is going to be just moved to South Range's home game, or they're still trying to travel to Jefferson, or Jefferson just said our field won't be ready this week. We'll just play 2 games at South Range. No idea what the whole future lies, but for right now, this is South Range home game against Jefferson. I'll be there.
And it should be a good one.
All right, so we both picked South Range. Last softball game of the night, it will be Poland now hosting Hubbard in their NE8 matchup.
I will take the Lady Bulldogs.
Yeah, give me Poland as well. They until someone beats them out of that NE8, I got to take them. They were the champions last year. They shared with South Range. So nothing's going to stop me from saying that those teams are going to fall until someone proves it. So I'll take Poland as well. So Ty, recap real quick. Who did we split on?
We got Lakeview Struthers baseball. We got Newton Falls Crestview baseball. Ursuline JFK baseball. And Lisbon United softball.
So 4 splits, and the way we work this is our points are going to be rewarded based on the run differential of these games. So, for example, if Warren JFK beats Ursuline by 3, Anthony gets 3 points. If Ursuline beats JFK by 4, Ty gets 4 points. Yada yada yada.
So we could still. So it makes it interesting. So there might not be as many nights where we split on our picks and nobody gets awarded points. So like Struthers and Newton Falls can win for me, and JFK and Lisbon can win for Anthony, but we could still have somebody take a lead, because if the run differential for me combined is 7 and for Anthony it's 5, that's +2 for me. I get 2. I'm up by 2.
It ain't gonna happen. I'm winning this year. I'm winning. I gotta win something.
Anthony's gotta win softball at least. He's gotta at least win the softball realm.
If I don't win that, then my reputation is gone.
I've beaten you in like football, volleyball, basketball.
Luckily, we weren't picking all the volleyball games.
No.
We'll do that in the fall, but we didn't establish that we were going to pick every single game that is happening.
We
until
didn't basketball. Basketball kind of really started the the first kind of initiative of Running Point? Because I feel like we were just getting our feet wet and bringing in this new era. And speaking of new era, getting our feet wet, we got to bring in one of the legends of this company. And for the first time since our new era of Running Point, Steve Leslie makes his Running Point debut.
Welcome to Running Point.
Thanks. Glad to be on. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're seeing all these baseball games greenlit tonight, and it's making us so excited. I know there's a lot of games that's seen just by itself.
Yeah, no doubt. They're out lining the fields now. All three fields are in great shape. So we'll have one game on field 1 at 5:30, champion. And then on fields 2 and 3, we'll have a game at 5 and one following that. So 5 games to start off the park. We're excited about it. And the weather looks good for today.
Talk about just some of these teams that you're excited to kind of host in today's games. And so this week coming up, and some of the baseball talent that you've seen in the area too, and some players you're excited and think that people should get out there to see this year.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a great, talented area. One of the things for both of you guys, for me, is we're the home for Lowville, for Struthers, for Cardinal Mooney, and Youngstown Ursuline. And out of those 4 teams, we're going to have 3 new coaches. Tommy Otto's taken over at Struthers, who you've had on, Paul Kemp over at Ursuline, and Eddie Reese at Cardinal Mooney. So I'm excited to watch those coaches come into new programs and do their thing here. But you know, when you talk about our area, I think you have to start with a Canfield team that's awful talented, has a bullseye on their back, no doubt, but is a team that, in my opinion, can win a state championship, no doubt, with what they have returning on the mound in Vital Cheese and Petro and Shaw and Havrilla and that cast of characters, Slanker. They have some very good players. They could be key. Also, you can't sleep on Salem. It's a team that went last year and beat Canfield in the regionals. Talented, very good coach. So those are the 2 teams that come to mind. But I think we have a lot of good baseball teams. Boardman with Coach Gabriel, I look forward to watching play. Austintown Fitch, Joe Roth is one of the better players in the area. Like I said, Cardinal Mooney and Ursuline, Brady Shannon and Luca Ricciuti from Ursuline will be leading them back. So from a park standpoint, it's always excited when you get to watch a lot of teams come in and play. And I think this year's no different, but I've listened to you guys a lot. Softball and baseball in our area does not take a back seat to many people in Ohio, and I think that's going to be the case again this year.
See, I want to talk about Canfield a little bit because we talked about it yesterday. We brought up this point that they dominated so much last year in their league and out of their league. There are a lot of teams that are going to see them again this year, are going to be able to make some adjustments to already seeing these pitchers. What kind of adjustments do you see Canfield making to kind of counter everyone kind of knowing what to expect now when they play Canfield?
I think their biggest adjustment is the disappointment from last year. I think this is a group that feeds off of that. Their pitchers have worked hard all summer, and in the offseason in the weight room, they do a great job of preparing for seasons. But I agree with you. When you look at them and you look at their schedule, it's a completely different schedule than they played last year. Of up the competition, which in my mind is going to prepare them for games later on. You know, last year they weren't in many close games, and that could have caught up to them. This year, I think, with the schedule that they're going to play, they will be in some closer games in the regular season that will help them come tournament time.
What are some dark horse teams that you think have the chance to make some noise this season that people are kind of letting fly under the radar and aren't really talking about a whole lot right now?
I'll start with the park. I think a dark horse team is Cardinal Mooney. Eddie Reese was one of the best players in our area. Went on into a great career at the College of Worcester. Taking over for Al Francicelli, who did a great job there for years. I think that's a young man that's going to put a stamp on Cardinal Mooney's program. I think they're under the radar a little bit, in my opinion. That's one. And I'll go to Springfield Tigers. They're good in every sport. Another talented group with Coach Dobson, have some pitchers coming back. So I think between Mooney and Ursuline, those are the sleeper teams. But you got to remember, Trumbull County Holland is awful good every year. I think they will be one. Coach McCartney, who has been an assistant a long time, is an assistant and champion that's going to come over and play over here at 5:30 at the park. So I'm excited to see some new faces in the park this year, some new teams coming in tonight. Brookfield's coming in. Obviously, JFK and Ursuline tonight at 7 o'clock on Field 2. That should be a great game. Coach Shimbadi, you want to talk sleepers. Can they be a sleeper? I don't know. They're just defending state champs with some good players coming back. But, I'm curious. I want your opinion. How hard is it to play with a bullseye on your back? JFK, a Canfield, a Salem for all the success they had last year. That has to be a tough thing in cold weather to come and get ready to go right out of the gate.
Even Springfield, because not just their baseball success, but everyone's just sick of losing to them in every sport they play. So they're saying, hey, if we can get them on the baseball field, that'll make everything that we've gone through in basketball and football kind of worth it.
Yeah, no question. I think that they're a team. They're coming down here to play today too. So I get a chance to check out, some good baseball tonight for the fans. Come on down to the park. It's $3 for adults, $2 for students, to help keep this place the way it looks. We're proud of what we do here, and the trend continues. Coach Watt and the morning day guys have done a great job to get all 3 fields ready to go, and hopefully the next couple of days here we can get some games in.
Steve, it's interesting because some coaches try to embrace that target on their back routine, but some coaches try to find ways to still make their team believe they're the underdog. What side of the fence do you fall? I know you've coached a lot. You've had teams that are so good that teams want to beat them. They're going to get their best. Do you lean into the target on their back, or do you try to find ways to make yourselves the underdog and keep that chip on your shoulder?
Man, that's a great question. I would say you want the chip on your shoulder. You want the target on your back. I think, in Coach Niddle's way, he's got their attention right out of the gate. They understand every game they come out, you're going to get somebody's best effort. I like the target on the back. That means you're respected and a good baseball team. And in my opinion, it makes you work kind of harder as a team and a staff to make sure you're prepared for every possible scenario. And I think Canfield fits that bill.
Steve, I mean, you mentioned Bobscene Park too, and the tradition of that place. I kind of want to go into that a little bit too. And I mean, your contributions with the park and just your longstanding history with the park is unmatched, I think, too. Just talk to me about the tradition of the Bobscene Park, and for the people who don't know why it's so important to have the upkeep and to keep this I call it treasure of the valley upkept and looking good year to year.
Well, it's number one. It's so important for me because Bobscene was that father figure for me. I played for him at a young age for the Astro Falcons. Very close ties with their family. Their 2 sons, Bob Jr. and Paul, have done a tremendous job in their dad's honor of maintaining this park, putting money into this park, and continuing to build on things. And it's no different this year. There's been some improvements. There'll continue to be some improvements, and that's why I'm proud to oversee the park. Bob Beam does a great job. Scott Rorick, Donnie Watt, Kate Kelly. There's a list of us that this is a family atmosphere, and the park means so much. And, it's the day where, in order for us to keep the park where we need to be, the $3 charge and the $2 charge does nothing but help to keep this place as upkeep with the maintenance that goes on and all the kids and workers that we have throughout the year. You're talking over 600 games in a baseball season. So it's a gem, no doubt. I think, and I've said, you guys could appreciate this. You've been down here to announce. I think I love our kids in our area, but sometimes you get a little spoiled when you play at a nice place. It's fun to see other high schools come in from out of town and watch their families take pictures and sit in the press seating area and those types of things. So, again, hats off to the Scene family. They give us the opportunity to oversee something that we love in baseball. And, it's a great day. Anytime you could say opening day at Bobscene Park, we're all looking forward to it.
One of the things that I'm sure Scene Park takes pride in is they have a great field crew that does it without the turf field. They're taking care of the grass or taking care of the dirt. They can play in a lot of weather situations that other fields can't, but they're still doing it the kind of the old fashioned way, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's old fashioned way for sure. We have a day crew, and Donnie Watt and his guys do a great job, and myself and Bob Beamer with the night. And we have a great group of kids. I'll tell anybody this right now, without the group of people that take care of the fields, you'd never be able to play as many games as we do at the park. And my night guys, I got to give shout outs to every day because Bob and I appreciate them. They bust their tail. The park's important to them. And we're going to do everything we can to get a field ready and get a game in. And you never know. Hopefully in the horizon somewhere down the road, Scene Park becomes turfed and makes this place even more state of the art.
Coach, we have more people that want to know about the teams that are kind of coming out of nowhere this year. One team that comes to mind for me, and not out of nowhere because they haven't been good in a while, but out of nowhere because I think they lost, quote unquote, a lot last year, and people are wondering what they'll bring to the table. Talk about South Range and what they're going to bring, and obviously the success that they've had, but also trying to fill some holes that they're leaving from players that graduated.
Yeah, you're fielding some pretty big holes in it. Brandon Mikos, who's got some innings at YSU, and Trey Pancake. But I did not sleep on them. I'll tell you that. Now, Skurpak is one of the better players in the area. They're coached very well. They're tested every year. They play a good schedule, and that's a team, once they get going and get hot, that's another team that you could look for come tournament time in those districts and regionals. That's a good baseball team. Don't sleep on them. A lot of talented kids returning, and I expect big things from them also.
And Steve, looking too at just baseball as a whole too, we look at all the other sports, the progression of football, the progression of basketball, how it's changed over the years. And with your experience as being a player, a coach, and a contributor to the sport for as long as you have, what are some of the biggest developments you've seen in the sport of baseball, and some of the biggest changes you've seen, maybe even on the field or off the field in the sport over the course of your career?
You know what? You're probably going to love this answer, but my first answer to that in baseball and softball is YSN. I think, and a shout out to you guys that call all our games, all our announcers. I think we've shot some enthusiasm into softball and baseball. And let's be honest, I say this all the time. I would have loved a YSN when I played and my parents worked till 5 o'clock and you can go on a YSN and listen to a homeschool announcer announce games. I think that has helped ignite an area that's talented in softball and baseball. And I know DJ loves, and I love what we do. And I think we've just scratched the surface what we do in high school softball and baseball. It's going to be bigger and better this year than ever. And I think that enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm in all these teams and fans, knowing that their programs are good and they're going to be covered all the time.
We got some love for Columbiana in the comments. I know you know Coach Wolf pretty well, and Columbiana is always putting down a really good team.
How nice is Columbiana Firestone Park? There isn't a nicer park, and I'm a little prejudiced, but it was always fun when I was coaching and going to play Firestone Park in Columbiana. Is beautiful, and there's another program that runs great players in and out every year through high school baseball and into colleges. I know Chase was with us with the Astro Falcons. He's over at Youngstown State. So, like I said, we can talk hours on baseball and softball, but I want to go to YouTube. 19 strikeouts in a softball game for your opener. That kind of tells you, for a freshman young lady, how good our area is. I think that, when you look at all these leagues and you see all these pitchers, and in softball too, you guys can agree, you better come ready to play in league games because you can get beat real easy.
We've been hearing all offseason, Coach Cindy Watts, probably one of the more hyped up freshmen that I've seen as part of a YSN since YSN has been contributed. And I know you've dealt with a lot of freshmen that come in with a lot of hype. What can you say to a freshman's opening game and the pressures that they're feeling in that spotlight, and how impressive it really is to put a performance like that in your first varsity game that counts towards your record? You can do it in scrimmages, but to do it in a regular season game against a conference foe that is pretty good in Canfield. Talk about, from your perspective as a coach, and you've coached a lot of freshmen, how impressive that really is.
Ty, that was impressive. And Ty, I think your interview kind of says it most. You have to go to, I don't think a coach can do anything to help a young freshman. I think your teammates do. Ty, you were there. I would say after the interview, I would say that Austintown Fitch group of upperclassmen showed a lot of confidence in the young lady, knew the type of player she was, and that enthusiasm and excitement pregame kind of took some of the young ladies' nerves away. And then when you get out there, it's, do what I do best. And I'm going to tell you what, I watched some of that. Steve Leslie wouldn't get a good swing on her with any pitch she throws to. I'll tell you that right now.
Rise ball is nasty, and for only being a freshman and the type of development that she can go through, by the time she puts it all together by her upperclassman season, it's gonna be scary. I want to kind of highlight that too, and
no doubt she was talented for sure, and that's the exciting part. The talent in our area is both softball and baseball. I'm thrilled with as the GM. I can't thank you guys for all you do and all our announcers. It's a joy for me to be up here working at the park and put the laptop on and surf through game after game. And I know you guys agree. It's only going to get bigger and better from a YSN standpoint. And hats off to all our fans and sponsors for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, Steve, no doubt. And just one final thing, I just wanted to highlight this and just the baseball in the area. We've been talking about it constantly. How important is it for people to get out there and support these schools too when they have these games going on too? Just talk about this pitching level talent, all these D1 pitchers we have. Oh,
Lost Steve.
We lost Steve. We'll have to see if we could get him back on. But nonetheless, it was still great having Steve Leslie on too. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that's just a phenomenal contributor to the game, coach too, and I mean did some great things too. There he is. I think he popped back on real quick. There we are.
Back at it. Sorry about that little malfunction here at the park, but I just, from an enthusiasm standpoint, and you were at softball games, and you know how excited they are. I just think the enthusiasm level is that something that I have not seen for years here, and I think that's a credit to all the good coaches at softball and baseball and families that put in the time to make their student athlete be the best. And we kind of get the cherry on top being able to cover it. Ty, I know you do a great job with Austin Town Fitch. Anthony, you're like, I don't even know how to keep track to where you're at and what you're doing. But from an announcer standpoint, how exciting is it for you to see the talent from top to bottom, upperclassmen of these young kids?
All right, we have a question for you in the comments, and you've already answered a couple of them. He wants to know, besides Scene Park, what are some really good facilities out there that you've been to that are the high schools are really putting on a good show at their facility? Obviously, we saw Edison last night. DJ was able
phenomenal
to christen their field. What are some of your favorite facilities around the area when you're talking high school baseball?
You know what? There's a lot of them, and you have to tie Austin Town Fitch is right there with AstroTurf, and you could play in some rain and those things. So I love going to Austin Town and watching the game. Boardman High School is one of my favorites. Down in the hill there to go watch a game there. I think we're blessed with many, many great fields. The Warren area has good fields. Niles is a baseball facility at Wilder Park is phenomenal. Springfield over at Springfield Local does a good job. I always liked playing and watching games at the Homer Dome in Poland. The ball flies out of there. So, we're blessed with this, but a lot of places, Canfield High School's done a ton of work over at their facilities. And, a lot of schools that I'm not fortunate enough to get to that have their own facilities at their own high school, hats off to them. Because I know South Range does that. Hats off to schools that have their own facilities at their own high schools, because it's not easy. You can only have so many guys come out and work on fields. We know that. And I salute the schools with their home fields and how they take care of that baseball and softball. So I would say anybody that has their home field for their kids to play those baseball and softball games on, salute to all them, because it's not easy to have fields ready to go.
And we're seeing more and more schools invest in putting softball,
Sure.
baseball fields in their high schools. We know there are a couple of schools with plans in the next year or so to have the baseball, softball at their high school. Upgrades, that's investing in the program, I think is big.
Yeah, I think if you're not investing in softball and baseball around here as a school, you're doing yourself kind of a disservice, because it's so talented. And, it's exciting to see these freshmen and sophomores come up and play varsity. Boys and girls are not being over their head, compete with the big people. And, I look forward. That was the first time I watched that young lady, but I will be watching her again when she takes the bump, because she's that talented.
Extend that to the fans too, and how important it is just to get out there and support these kids this season, and just the number of D1 and just college next level pitching and next level baseball and softball talent that we have playing in high school seasons right now.
Well, I think you hit that right on the head. Without fans and without parents that support schools and systems, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. We wouldn't be able to have what we have here at the park without excellent followings from the teams that play their home games here. A Lowville, a Struthers, a Mooney, and Ursuline. Great support, great followings. Administrators are always out watching their teams play. I just think there's no better place to be. We've been, this COVID's kind of got us for 2 years, but we're full go now. And come on out and support great kids in the softball the same way. Go out and, yeah, there's some fees and some prices charged at facilities, but with the way things are, that's just the normal world anymore. You have to do those things to stay afloat and get what you need. But man, come on out. You get a night tonight, 65. I don't know how many times I could say 65 for a 7 o'clock. I just looked at the weather, 7 o'clock, and it's in the 60s. Come on down to the park. There's 2 night games on field 2 and 3 for those fans. Come on down after softball and baseball games at 5. We'll be here the rest of the night.
Welcome to Ohio. 65 a day after it was too cold.
Then tomorrow, it's like 40-mile-an-hour winds and rain, and then I think Friday snow. And I know we got a full docket Saturday. I know there's games starting at 11. Some out-of-town teams coming in to play Cardinal Mooney, so we're excited about that. And you two guys stay in tune with me. I'll get you all the latest updates of all the cancels we have at the park throughout the year for sure. But I enjoyed talking to this. And last but not least, I cannot thank the two of you enough for all you do for all of us at YSN and our fans. I appreciate it.
We can't thank you enough for coming on and just giving us your time in a busy day. I know you have at Bobscene Park. I can't thank you enough for just taking time out of your busy day to kind of just give us this preview of some of the great baseball in the area.
No problem. Keep doing what you do. I know you two are going to be out and about somewhere today, so have fun. Check out YSN on the Twitter for scores and get on our page. And I'm excited for YSN. Let's blow this baseball and softball season up like we never have before for sure.
Steve, you're always welcome on the show. Anytime you just text me, ask me for a link, I'll send it to you. Thank you so much for coming on.
You got it. Have a good one.
You as well, Steve.
Steve Wesley, and you know, he's so humble and he loves to talk about other people. But this running point that we have would not happen without his input. I mean, DJ and Steve and some other guys at YSN were talking, you know, how do we keep Running Point, you know, afloat? How do we change? How do we make it better? And Steve Wesley was one of the guys that just said, "Hey, let's let Anthony have a shot. Let's get Ty in there. Let's see how they do." They believed in both of us, and Steve Wesley is one of the big voices in that room that kind of started this new era of Running Point. So we can't thank him enough for all he does for YSN. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. He does a lot of stuff when it comes to our relationships with schools. He's the GM for the reason, and he also, a lot of the guys that get on the air, you know, he builds those relationships and he brings these people to YSN. So there are a lot of people, a lot of people that work for YSN because of the relationship they have with Steve Wesley. So
I mean, I mentioned Steve Wesley at the end of almost every one of my broadcasts and his contributions with YSU football, Bobscene Park baseball, and just like his contributions. And almost every time when I do that, someone that hears me call it around the area will mention him. He's well known throughout the area. I feel like everyone somewhere I go always knows who Steve Wesley is. He's gotten his name out there, and I mean, his name is out there for good reason, just because of, like I said, his contributions go beyond just sports and Valley sports too, and just his contributions to community and just to people is out of this world too. And I mean, can't find a better guy than Steve Wesley, and we're so glad he's part of our squad.
Guys that we could not do it without, and Steve Leslie's on the top of that list. DJ, obviously, you know, he's the brainchild. Brian,
the tech guru.
None of the broadcast would actually go on the site if Brian wasn't in a room somewhere hitting go live.
Brian's the only guy that could simultaneously be in like Edison and Austintown Fitch at the same time, fixing things for you. At the same time. He's that good.
Brian Scott. And then, of course, Steve Lesley. Now you got to add Quinn into that list, because Quinn has stepped up big time and done a lot for this whole company in the last, really the last 6 months, stepping up into a new role, assistant general manager. He does so much for scheduling. I know we kind of give him a hard time when he comes on the comments and ask stuff like that, but like
personal Ty Hassler is what he is right now,
especially in the spring season where all these games are getting moved at a moment's notice. I mean, there could, without Quinn, announcers would be showing up at the wrong places, and people wouldn't know if the games were going on, and so I don't think we can underplay the role that Quinn Puchkar has in the company. I know this become just gushing out of all the people that do wonderful things for YSN, but hey, whatever it turns to, it turns to. We also want to thank all of our announcers that do a great job. We're going to have let's total games on the network tonight real quick, just to give the announcers a shout out. We have, including YSU baseball and tennis, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 events on the network tonight, and none of them would be possible without the announcers that are willing to go out there in the elements, I mean, it's 65, which is nice, but some people think it's cold. I don't. I'm ready for it. But some people still bundle up in 65. My dad, real quick story, my dad can have the house at like 73 and still have his like coat on because he's too cold. He's a straight up warm body. Like he needs the house at like 74. He is cold. And then my mom's the opposite. Like here, we have our house probably right now like 68 degrees, which is super. I'm in a hoodie all the time, and I always tell her, "You got this backwards. You have it warm in the summer, and you have it cold in the winter. We need to do this around." So everyone's kind of different, but all the announcers go out. Windy elements, not if it's raining, of course, unless we have cover. But in the wind, in the cold, we're gonna have games where we're cold. You were cold last night, I'm sure, in that press box. DJ was cold last night in Edison. We have announcers that are willing to go out in the elements and do these games, and we couldn't thank all of them enough.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, it's just it's part of it, I think. And I think all of our announcers would, I think, humbly agree to that. You love sports so much. All of these guys are sports fans at heart that are going out there too. So going out into the elements with sports, I mean, I'm sure a lot of these guys have either been to a football game, baseball game where it was cold out, you bundled up and you go, or you've been to a game where it's raining or snowing maybe. But
my biggest struggle in the cold, Ty, and I don't know what you did last night, but like you have to run the laptop and you have to kind of like my hands freeze up. So like I have to go to break, but I have to be like, okay, we're ready to go to break. And then in a softball game, if it's cold, it takes me like an extra 10 seconds to get the mouse over to that break button, hit break,
Yeah.
Like my hand function goes away in the cold.
The press box wasn't too bad. Because it's a more compact press box, and it was pretty cool with people. So
I will say for the most part last night, at least in my screen, taking the dog out and stuff, there wasn't a lot of wind.
No, and I mean the sun was shining. It was clear skies, so it was still nice out too. Like it was just cold. That was the only downfall. It was just cold.
So at least it wasn't windy and it wasn't cloudy. Although meteorology 101 for YSN, you didn't know you were getting it, but here it is. On the cold days of winter, you should root for cloudy days because clouds have that effect to keep heat in the lower atmosphere. So clouds will keep the day on hand a little bit warmer in the winter. So counterintuitive, but in the winter, root for those cloudy days. You didn't know that, but now you do.
Before we get off, Mark Roth giving Steve Leslie some love before we get out of here. I'll be seeing Mark here, and only a matter of hours too, as the Falcons get ready for first pitch against Chagrin Falls. But just giving some love to Steve Leslie, and that's a great line too. Wearing whatever hat he needs at that.
This guy, you put it down. That guy, right there, one of the best supporters of YSN we ever had. So.
Yeah, you want to talk about another great guy, great supporter of Austintown schools as well too, as a lot of people know his name in that Austintown area, and he knows a lot of people.
If anything ever happened to Austintown Fitch, I think Mark Roth would be the first person with someone with YSN's got to be here, banner up. He'd be in like the window of someone's home going YSN.
We're excited too. Hopefully, we get to hear Mark Roth make his announcing debut and do some color commentary on some games with me. And I mean, I know with his coaching experience and just his knowledge of the game.
Is that breaking news?
We're talking about it. We're talking about it. Obviously, it has to go. I don't know if DJ and him have had discussions, but I know it's obviously been floating around. So we might be doing it this season. So.
Ty's making backdoor deals. Great, awesome.
No, we're excited too, and he's mentioned I think on the show. So
this time got away from me. We got to get out of here so Casual Sports Podcast can go up on at 2. So we're gonna take a 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow. Don't forget, Cheryl Weaver will be featured on tomorrow's show. We'll also have finals, recaps, post-game interviews from games tonight, and much more on Running Point tomorrow from 12 to 2. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. Power Hour from 3 to 4, and then 12 sporting events on the network tonight. Don't miss a minute of any of them, whether you're a baseball fan, softball fan, or if you're a tennis fan, we got it tonight. Struthers Tennis in Warren. So don't miss a minute of all the action on YSN. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll see you all tomorrow.